So today we're going to talk about something I feel probably kills the most projects of any subject that I've covered or will cover on this channel, and that's knowing how to finish a project. And it's actually something that's quite difficult. It definitely takes some time and skill to learn how to properly finish a game. And so today we're going to be going through some things that I've found helped me in the past, and hopefully you can get some help. Hopefully I can help you guys finish your projects. The first thing I want to talk about is something I personally struggle with. I tend to be a person that doesn't do well with structure. I tend to not like a ton of structure. However, when it comes to making a game and finishing a project, you're going to want to do some planning. You're going to want to have some game doc. So the first tip is really create some structure that you can work around. So to start making this structure, you're going to want to first figure out your kind of rough scope. Now make sure that your scope is as small as possible, especially if this is your first game. Believe me, no matter what you think, it's always going to take more time and more work. There's always going to be more to do than you think. So always start small. Come up with a short sentence, maybe a line or two, that kind of tells people what your game is about, what the goal of your design is. Doing this will help you make sure you keep working on your game in an efficient manner, and anything that you are tempted to add along the way, you have something to measure it against. This can help you from giving into feature creep, bloating a project, and creating the infinite game that pretty much every dev wants to create. We always want to add more. So if you have this short little mission statement almost, it can help you keep a game to the scope that is appropriate. Now, this is most often found in a game doc, which I also recommend making. Put together a game doc. No matter how small your game is, you can usually get at least a page or two, and that will really help with not only explaining your game to others, but also helping you actually have an end goal in sight. After that, you're going to want to create a dev schedule. Break up the features that you want to finish. You don't necessarily have to put a time on it, just kind of come up with the general order of operations that you're going to be following. Now, of course, this is going to change. There's going to be days where you really don't feel like doing that thing, and maybe you'll work on another piece. However, in general, I find it's useful because then you have a list of what features you need to do and what features are not in the game. It especially helps if you push anything that isn't essential to your core game or your core game loop to the end. That way you know that your product, one, is fun and good earlier on in development, and two, you have a finished product faster, which leads us to our next major step. So after you get all that kind of documentation and paperwork out of the way, it's a good idea to kind of create your core game loop as fast as possible. I like to try to keep games release ready, as in someone could play it and understand the game as much as possible. And keeping it to, if it's possible for your game, which can be difficult depending on your scope, keeping it a product you could release tomorrow and then building from there. Now, this method of development has actually a few advantages. First of all, it lowers the where you get from testing your game constantly, which you're going to be doing. You're going to be playing your game so much, it can be very hard to remember why it's fun sometimes. And doing it this way kind of helps with that. Additionally, it gives you boosts along the way. I remember the first day that my current project, Steampunk Abyss, finally felt like a game, and it was a great day, and it kept me going for quite a while afterwards just from that boost. My third bit of sage wisdom would be find a team to work with. Finding a team to work with has been massively useful for me in the past and now. It provides another external motivation beyond I want to create a game and I want to get my name out there, or whatever your motivation is. But then you become accountable to some more people that you connect with more personally than you do with a lot of other reasons to be a game dev. There are several reasons why working with a team can be great. First of all, you have ideas other than your own working to create this project, which can constantly lead to new thinking, new ideas, which increases the interest in the project because it's no longer a static thing. It becomes a living thing. Now that's possible as a solo dev, but it is very, very, very difficult compared to working with a team. And I personally love working with a team. I've loved working with my current team. Bahototh has been doing an amazing job with the art and the music. It's great. WW Surfing Dinosaur does amazing work. And without them, the game would feel very different. They do things that I just can't currently contribute to the project, which means the project constantly feels like it's making larger and larger strides than if it was just me by myself. Another tip I've found massively useful is knowing how much you can put into it. Don't spend 12, 14 hours a day. Make sure you take time to relax. Make sure you take time off in general. Take a week here and there to work on another project. I take what I call devcations, where I continue to work and I continue to make things, but I kind of make maybe a prototype, or maybe there's a mechanic in the game I'm working on that's giving me trouble and I just can't get past it. I'll create a game that's all about that mechanic, and by taking it out of the project and by kind of refreshing my viewpoint, a lot of times I'll find solutions and I get to kind of take a break from that project. Even though I'm still doing the same thing, it kind of rejuvenates you. That's why I took part in the Ludum Dare Jam. That's why when I can, I take maybe a day or two or a week sometimes to create these little projects, is because for me, it helps me remember why I'm doing this. Along with this, I would say be social. Not necessarily in person, but there's plenty of communities online for game devs. I've shared them in the past, and honestly, these things have kept me going. I particularly like Jonas Tyrola's Making Games Together server and the Ask Game Dev server. Those are where I spend most of my time. I also had to bounce around from a couple of other ones. There's one for people from my area that I drop things in every once in a while. It's nice to know that some people around me are also doing this and going through this in a similar condition. So look around, find these communities, and believe me, sharing what you're working on with these communities, or even on Twitter, is massively useful. It's nice to see people reacting to what you're making. I mean, you'll probably get some hate here and there, but overall, I've found that it's worth sharing because you'll find those people that care about what you're doing. Now, another problem I've personally faced is I tend to have lots of ideas that I want to try. I have so many games I want to make, and I have, you get a new idea, you get excited, you want to make it. It's even better than the current project. But fighting that off can be very difficult. That's another advantage of these devcations I take, is a lot of times I'll take them to make a very small prototype of a very basic thing and integrate something from my current project so that I can get something out of it, but also I can work this kind of excitement out of my system, work this idea out. I also carry a notebook with me whenever I can. I used to spend a lot of time on public transportation, so I would work on paper prototypes. I would write down ideas. I would come up with systems while I was on these train rides. That's actually where Steampunk Abyss started, was when I was on my way to school on a train. I started prototyping this on paper, and I came up with some ideas I really liked. And so that's kind of how I work out this excitement I get for these random ideas that I come up with, is just find a way to express them in a place where you can come back to them, where you know that no matter what, you'll be able to come back if your current project is done, or whatever reason, you have those there and you know that. And it definitely helps keep you on track instead of chasing these random ideas. Another thing, it kind of goes along with what I was talking about earlier with getting into these dev communities, is get onto social media with your project. Get onto Twitter, get onto Facebook, get on anything you can handle, itch.io, YouTube. Start creating trailers for your game, especially trailers. The videos that I've created over on my personal one, trailers have gotten the most hits. Trailers are a great idea for your game. I'm actually planning one for my current game soon because they get a lot of views. People, for some reason, watch a lot of these, and so getting that attention can help you. It gets your support, and you really need your supporters. You really need people getting involved with your game, with your community, because without them, it can be very difficult to keep going. There's times where the only thing that has kept me going on past projects has just been the fact that I knew somebody wanted to play it, even if it was just one other person. And that's something I found massively helpful. Now, that's kind of the core tips. If I think of anything else, I'll make another video on this. If you guys have anything that maybe I missed or something you personally have found helpful, share them here in the comments or come over to my Discord server and we'll have a chat about it. I love learning from everyone. There's so many talented people out there that have different perspectives than mine. So if you have something that you disagree with, just let me know. Or if you have something cool you want to share, there's always my Discord. I'm currently working on revamping it to make it a little bit more sharing friendly as well. So stop on by. If you enjoyed this video, I'm going to be continuing to make videos like this, hopefully find ways to help even more people. So yeah, if you liked it, go ahead and subscribe. If you're not, leave a like and a comment and I'll try to answer everything I can, of course. Have a great day.